England secured their 4-2 victory over Croatia at the 2026 FIFA World Cup with this starting 11 on the pitch. The final scoreline suggests a dominant, fluid performance, but the actual match rhythm was far more disjointed. England found success by exploiting isolated, high-leverage events rather than building continuous passing networks. These high-variance tactical events, penalties, set pieces, and rapid transitions, served as the primary drivers of the outcome. We can define them as moments where the standard flow of play breaks, and the result depends on specific, high-risk tactical executions. England's strategy rested on two distinct pillars. The first was an absolute reliance on dead ball exploitation during the primary phases of the match, manufacturing goals from static starts when open play stalled. The second pillar emerged late in the game. England utilized aggressive transitional overloads to systematically break down a heavily fatigued Croatian defensive block. Interpreting this 4-2 outcome requires looking past traditional possession statistics. By mapping the chronological structural phases of the game, we can trace exactly how these isolated events determined the final score. The opening tactical phase centered on this static position, the penalty spot. The sequence began with Dominik Livakovic successfully intercepting England's initial penalty attempt. By correctly reading the striker's movement, he temporarily maintained the clean sheet. A rapid VAR intervention immediately nullified that save. Officials identified an infringement during the strike, mandating a full retake of the penalty. This forced Harry Kane into a high-stakes psychological reset. He returned to the spot to face the same goalkeeper, who was now fully calibrated to his preferred timing and direction. Kane responded by deliberately altering his internal shot vector. He abandoned his typical routine, choosing to strike the ball in the opposite direction of his initial failed attempt. He paired that redirection with significant physical force. The strike carried enough velocity to eliminate the goalkeeper's reaction time, hammering into the upper corner. Successfully navigating this dead ball variance provided the foundation for England's early lead. The analysis now shifts from the penalty spot to the corner flag. We can evaluate this next goal through its kinematics, the specific speed and trajectory required to move the ball from a static start to a highly contested target area. Declan Rice's delivery follows a sweeping trajectory vector. It originates from the corner flag, moving toward the center of the penalty area. This arc floats over the initial line of Croatian defenders, effectively removing their zonal markers from the play. The ball terminates at this predetermined point. The target player arrives exactly on time, isolating himself for an authoritative, uncontested header. This orchestration proved England utilized dead ball routines as a primary tool to bypass Croatia's open play defensive block. Facing a 2-goal deficit, Croatia shifted their tactical response toward rapid verticality. This approach exploited a lapse in England's midfield pressing structure. When a shift in possession occurred, England's defenders were caught in transition. Even Perisic recognized the structural gap immediately upon receiving the ball. He used the available wide space to launch the counterattack before England could recover. This diagram illustrates the velocity of the play. A direct vertical vector links Perisic's wide position through the midfield directly to the striker in the attacking third. Musa's finishing touch demonstrated a flaw in England's high press. When the midfield timing missed, the defensive block was left exposed to these high-speed transitions. In the late-game phase, England initiated a period of sustained pressure, pinning the Croatian defense deep inside their own penalty area. Jude Bellingham drove these transitional overloads. His continuous, line-breaking runs forced the Croatian midfield to drop deep and compromised their defensive shape. The goalkeeper's performance during this stretch was a statistical anomaly. He was consistently parrying shots that carried a high probability of resulting in a goal. In one sequence, the goalkeeper executed a tremendous double save, parrying consecutive strikes from point-blank range to keep the ball out of the net. Despite these saves, the underlying problem was defensive attrition. This diagram shows multiple attacking vectors striking against a single defensive wall. Croatia's inability to clear the ball meant England's attacking waves immediately recycled, compounding physical pressure on the backline. While the goalkeeper's reflexes held the scoreline temporarily, the systemic failure to clear the ball indicated the defensive structure was rapidly reaching its breaking point. The final fracture occurred in the game's closing minutes. The timeline here highlights the exact moment the pressure finally broke the defense. Marcus Rashford exploited the physical gaps left by the degraded Croatian backline, providing the final finish to seal the victory. This 85th-minute goal functioned as the direct, inevitable output of 20 minutes of sustained defensive attrition. By combining the data from both halves, the overall strategy becomes clear. England established their lead through precise set pieces and secured the match by applying overwhelming late-game force. This 4-2 win was a demonstration of structural stress testing. England secured an advantage through dead ball variance and closed the match by deliberately exceeding the opponent's defensive load capacity.